Welcome, friends and viewers, to our next part, which is part 4 of our video series on obtaining Portuguese citizenship through marriage.
Hi.
Hi.
Hola.
Part 4 is focusing on the birth certificate requirements for the non-Portuguese citizen. In our case, it's the Canadian citizen, which is Sean. And so what we had to do, so first of all, it's part of the application, that checklist that we talked about on the very first video, and you can find that checklist on the Facebook page. And on there it talks about how you have to submit registration of birth. The different provinces and different regions, different countries are going to have different words for it.
Exactly.
So keep that in mind. In our situation specifically, Sean was born in Ontario. So in the province of Ontario, the one that we had to order was called a statement of live birth. It isn't just a small little certificate. He already has one of those small certificates. That's not sufficient. It's got to be the long form registration or certificate or statement of live birth. It's got a stamp from the region, in our case Ontario.
The doctors fill out, really. The doctor filled it out.
At the time of birth, it's what the doctor filled out. That's exactly it. It's kind of handwritten. It's not typed out, although it might be in your region, but in Ontario it's not. It's got the child's name, the mother's name, the father's name, or whatever, the parents' names. It's got how many live births were at that time, if it was a singleton, was it a twin, that kind of thing. So you'll know it when you see it. When you go to order your birth certificate, you'll see it's the one that's got all those details. In our case, it was from Ontario anyway, it was $45 to order the birth certificate itself. And we just did it online, and we paid an extra $30 for it to be rushed because we wanted it quickly, because I do everything as quickly as I possibly can.
It's true. That's very true. Yeah.
So, because it's me and I was in a rush, I paid the extra $30. It was guaranteed to be sent to us within 5 days or you get your money back. So, for me, it was worth it.
I think it was like 3 days
took
and
us
it showed up. It was pretty quick, even by, Canada Post standards.
It was very quick. Once we received it, the next step was the trickier part. You can't just hand in your birth certificate, even though it's stamped off by the province.
Yeah.
It looks official.
From Canada.
It's not official enough. You have to get it authenticated by the Portuguese consulate or embassy that has jurisdiction over where that birth certificate was created. So, of course, being in Ontario, the consulate that has jurisdiction over that would be the Portuguese consulate in Toronto.
Yeah.
So after we ordered it from Ontario to BC, we then packaged it up and went to Canada Post after going to the bank and getting the fee. So, quickly grabbing all this stuff. So the fee, we had to send the Consulate General of Portugal was $45.89 at the time that we submitted this. So the
Was that in euros?
price might change. This is not in euros.
Okay.
Canadian dollars. And it was $45.89. And then we sent it in an express post envelope such as this. So the birth certificate went in. The application to ask the Portuguese consulate to authenticate the document went in. And I have a copy of that, which I will post on the website. But basically what you're doing is you're going, there's this, and you can't see it from this distance, but I'll post this as well. It's called Consulate at Home. It's on the website for the Toronto Consulate, or Consulado em Casa if you're reading it in Portuguese. And it has a document list you have to hand in. There's the application, filled out and signed, the original document, signed and sealed by the issuing office. That would be the birth registration.
So sorry to interrupt. So the Toronto Consulate takes care of Ontario, Manitoba, and the territory of Nunavut. So
Right.
if you're in those areas, you'll be using the Toronto Consulate.
Oh, good point, yeah. So if exactly. If you're Ontario, Manitoba, or Nunavut, then you could actually do exactly what we did. If you're in a different province, you'll have to figure out which
Contact
consulate.
that consulate and see what they want.
Yeah, but this particular, in Toronto, it's the application, the original document, the copy of his identification card or citizenship card, and a copy of a document containing his address, like his driver's license. That's all we did, and another express post envelope that we
Prepaid for.
prepaid
Yeah.
one
They
Yeah.
don't pay to mail back to you. You're taking all the costs on.
Yeah. So we sent one express self-addressed envelope, which was, sorry about that, 2160, and then our envelope that we sent that included the return envelope plus all the documents that they want was $22.35. So $46.15 was the total. So be prepared to pay that as well.
So a sidebar though is the COVID. We think allowed us to do this all online and not have to be in person to receive or drop off any of the documents. It looks like that's the standard practice. When you were reading it prior to COVID, you were required to show up to pick up or drop off your documents and get a username and all kinds of things. But I believe we got lucky with COVID, so you would really need to double check that. It may have changed since COVID is now disappearing to some people.
Yeah. I'll read this out, actually, exactly what it says. If you are not yet registered at the Consulate General in Toronto, you must do so in person in order to take advantage of the services provided in Consulate at Home. Non-registered individuals may apply for services listed, but will have to pick them up in person in order to concurrently register themselves at the Consulate General. We didn't have to do that. And we don't know if that's because of the coronavirus pandemic.
Must be, because there was no flights going anywhere. You weren't allowed to go anywhere at that time.
At the time that we did this,
I think they made the adjustment for it.
we think.
Yeah.
So maybe you have to take a look at that. You may have to go to the jurisdiction. Like, we maybe would have had to go to Toronto to go pick up the document and register ourselves. That we can't
Verify right now. You'd have to
verify.
contact the consulate.
Yeah. And that's about it for that part. And then after that, not that long later, I don't have the exact date and write it down, but it was fairly quick. The consulate was fast as well. We received, sent us
just
back
sent back
the birth certificate. Yeah. Authenticated, and then it had this little document inside that just said authentication. It has his name, it's the receipt for it, and it was $45.90, so it ended up going up 2 pennies by the time that we.
Yeah, so it's 30 euros.
30 euros.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
30 euros
So,
in Canadian, 45.90.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what that was.
And that was on June 1st, 2021, that we ended up getting this document back.
And that, as a sub-bar to all of this, Cecilia is getting lots of messages with questions. And unfortunately, there's a lot of questions that we are unable to answer. We are not legal representation to anything. This is just our little thing of how we got it, and maybe these tips will help you along if you're trying to do the process yourself. And then our next episode is on,
The record check.
which has a few hiccups in that one, so you'll want to pay attention to this one. Again, if you're doing this from Canada.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that's it for this one, and tune in for for part 5 for the criminal record check and how to go about getting that. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.